Hello, hello, hello. It's good to see you. Welcome back to those of you who have watched before. It's nice to see you again. And hello to those of you who maybe this is your first time here or you're catching the replay. This is turning out to be the best part of my week. I got to be honest. I am Dr. Julie Allig, aka the Data Diva, coming to you from lovely Manchester, New Hampshire. I am here on Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. I've been going live every Friday now through the rest of the year until the end of December. I'm going to go live every other Friday. This is the time of year when everyone's calendars start going haywire, mine included. And so I'm going to just dial it back just a little bit, but don't despair. I'll still be here every other Friday, and you can always catch the replays on LinkedIn or over on my YouTube channel. So just in case you are interested in that. Today, I wanted to talk about getting quality leads. So a question I get a lot of times from my business colleagues, from my clients, from my students is, how do I know which of my leads is high quality? And the reason you want to know which ones are high quality, because you spend a lot of time finding those leads and nurturing them and trying to turn them from cold leads into warm leads, into clients, into happy clients, and then into repeat clients. And no matter what line of business you're in, you're looking for leads. But quality, what does quality mean? And what does a quality lead mean? So fun fact, I actually wrote my dissertation, so many moons ago, on the idea of quality. Yes, it is a very difficult concept to wrap your head around. It's a difficult concept to nail down. And it's very amorphous. It can change over time. For you, it can change from one business owner to another, from one financial planner, wealth manager to another, from one attorney in a law firm to another. Different leads are going to be yes or no, more or less high quality. So I wanted to walk through how the heck do we figure out where we can find those quality leads? Because finding those quality leads, if we can find them, then we are much more likely to be able to keep them. And as we all know, it is so much, many times, about 5 times cheaper to keep a client than to go out and find a new one. So, and when you measure that, that's, in terms of resources, including money, in terms of time, in terms of people on your team that need to be doing business development, looking for leads, that sort of thing. So the first thing I'll say is I've got a couple of ways that we can think about measuring what a quality lead is. So before we can actually go out and find more, we need to define what the heck is a quality lead. And so the first thing that I'll say is we need to go back in your go back through your clients and figure out which of your clients are actually profitable. Now, if you've heard me talk before in person or here on my on the replays on my live stream, you'll have heard me talk a lot about measuring profit. not just revenue, but profit. And so it might not seem like an easy way to be thinking about your leads and your clients, but think about it this way. How much, if we're a law firm, we know how much revenue the different clients are bringing us. We know how much we're billing. We know how much we're having to take a haircut on, unfortunately, because sometimes clients balk at actually paying the full bill. So we have an idea about how much revenue we're bringing in. What I want you to do is then figure out how much profit you're making on each of your clients. That could be as simple as just revenue minus cost. That could also be something like you measure resources in terms of not dollars, but in terms of time spent before they actually signed with you, something like that. That might be another way of measuring, but there are different ways to measure. And it's not one size fits all, which leaves everything open for quite a lot of creativity. And it makes it easy for lots of different kinds of businesses with different business models to be able to do this. But if we want to find more quality leads, first thing we need to do is figure out which of our clients that we have right now are bringing in profit. And so that's the first step to figuring out who's a quality client and why do we care about this? We'll get to that in a minute. But so the first step, which of them are actually bringing in a lot of profit? The second, think about, and this is something I borrow from much more straightforward marketing colleagues of mine, the whole idea of customer lifetime value. So think about not how much profit each year, let's say, a certain client brought you. You can also, if you're doing a traditional kind of customer lifetime value, client lifetime value, you can also aggregate those over the years. And so you can see over the past 5 years, which are the clients that brought us the most profit, right? That brought us the most revenue minus cost. You can also think about who are your quality clients by how many referrals they bring you. Because if you think about it, what we want to do is we want to obviously deliver more than what our clients want. We want to deliver at least, at the very minimum, everything they want. Hopefully we can go beyond simply delivering to delighting our customers, right? So we want to turn them into raving fans. And if they're raving fans, then they're willing and likely to refer others in their network, in their ecosystem, back to us. And so it could be the case that maybe a client of yours is a good client in the sense of we're measuring the amount of profit they bring in, right? In year one. And let's say in year two, they just don't have a lot of business. Let's say they're a law firm, you're a law firm, and you're a commercial law firm, and one of your businesses just doesn't have a lot of business for you one year. So the profit that you're going to book from that particular client is going to be much less. Does that mean they're not a good client? Well, they referred you out to 6 other businesses who then 4 of them became clients, right? And those 4 each also brought in profit. So you could almost be looking at that original client of yours and then calculating their lifetime value, not just in the sense of how much direct revenue and profit they bring you, but also theirs, and then compounding it with the referrals that they brought you. So now calculating referrals, figuring out where those referrals came from, and then adding those to that original. It sounds like it's really complicated. It's think about it. It's really not. It is adding in. It's just adding something from one bucket to another bucket. That's how I like to think about my clients. I think about them in kind of buckets. Which ones are bringing me a lot of profit? Which ones are bringing me a lot of other referrals, which are then bringing me a lot of profit? And then the third way I want you to think about your clients as we're coming up and figuring out, where the heck do I get my quality leads from? I want you to think about your current clients and who do you actually like working with? Because let's face it, we're not always a match for everyone in the world. I know, it's shocking. It's shocking to hear me say this, right? We're just not a match. Our different business models might not be a match for certain other potential clients out there. Our personalities might not gel. Our cultural beliefs might not gel. So there are different things that make both you as a provider, but also your clients, easier or more difficult to work with. And so when we're thinking about, where do I get quality leads, think about who you actually like working with. Because what we're going to be doing is using this as a way of figuring out where to look next for more like these clients. So if you've got a couple of clients that there's just friction, no matter what you do, you can tell they're trying, you're certainly trying, there's just friction, right? Do you really want more like that? No, you don't. In the end, it doesn't serve either of you. So again, think about, as the first step here, we're going to think about our current clients, and we're going to think about measuring the quality level of them in 3 ways. 1, how much profit they're bringing. 2, how many referrals they're bringing us. And then 3, who we actually like working with, who we've got a really good working relationship with, right? And so, all right. So the one thing I will say that I haven't mentioned to this point is that everything I'm talking about right now about getting quality leads presupposes that you're actually tracking where you're getting your leads from. And so this is a hurdle that I hear a lot when I'm out and about, talking with other colleagues in different industries, talking with potential clients of my own. Oh, we're not tracking that. Even one business friend of mine, I just saw her post today on LinkedIn that she's focusing a lot more on lead generation and where her leads are coming from. And she said, I really haven't been tracking where my leads come from that closely up to now, but I'm going to start, because I've started to see just how important that is for my business. So when someone tells me that they're not tracking where their leads are coming from, where their clients are coming from, I'll usually say something like, well, okay, but today is a great day to start, in the sense that maybe you haven't been for the past 5, 10, 15 years. That's okay. Start today. And it's not rocket science, but it is a sort of consistent process that we need to buy into ourselves, us and our teams. And we need to just keep it up. It's something you do at the end of every week, at the end of every 2 weeks, something like that. And then what we're able to do then, once we know where all of our leads, and especially those leads that have turned into clients, where they've come from, then we can start putting them into buckets. So one way we could look at this is we could put them into buckets according to those 3 characteristics that I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. So we could look at our clients and base the bucket on low, medium, high profit that they brought us over the past 3 years, over the past 5 years, right? We could also put them into buckets based on how many referrals they give us. Do they give us low, medium, high? We could also quantify that, right? We could say they give us 0 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 or more referrals in any given year, something like that, right? So already you can see your clients are going to be put into groups, and they might not be groups that you've ever really taken a look at before. Again, to quote Yogi Berra, you can see a lot just by looking. And if you slightly change how you look at your client, your book of business, right? Instead of just focusing on revenue, let's focus on profit. Instead of focusing on the dollars that they bring directly, that they feed us directly, we're going to look at those second order dollars that they bring us, right? The number of referrals, right? So kind of indirect resources that they bring us. And then that third, who are the clients that you like to do work with? And here, if you're working with a team of people, you could probably just, reach out very casually. And if you don't already have a sense of who your team really likes working with and who, I'll pass on that account, right? You can get a sense of that. And then you could put them into 2 buckets. Don't really like, really love working with, or something like that. And then once you start looking at them that way, and we've got them into those buckets, then what you do is see, where did they come from? And so the ones that are in that first bucket, where we looked at how much profit they bring you, where did the clients in that high profit, where did they come from? That's where you're going to be able to find more of them, right? When we think about that second bucket, the clients who bring us a lot of referrals, where did they come from? And that's where you're going to be able to start in a very rich, what's my metaphor here? Rich field, right? You can start looking in a field to find the clients that are going to be giving you good referrals, right? And then again, the clients that you really like working with and the ones that you'll give a pass to, right? You just don't gel. There's always friction. Where do the ones come from, and where do the friction ones come from? Maybe you are some sort of medical aesthetics service provider, and you notice that you get a lot of leads from your Instagram account. People DM you, they click the link in bio, they go to your calendar scheduler, and they book something. And maybe those, it turns out, are really not the ones that you want to work with for whatever reason. Maybe they are never satisfied. Maybe they always have too high expectations, whatever it is. Compared to the clients over here that you love working with, and where did they come from? Oh, it turns out they were referred by previous clients. So here, right there, you can see, like with Jen, who was here, my guest a couple of weeks ago, with her medical aesthetics practice, you can see the different kinds of clients and the different kinds of quality client from 2 different lead sources, from Instagram and from warm referrals from previous clients. That's why it's so important. You wouldn't necessarily know that there's this division among your clientele until you really look at it. You can see a lot just by looking. And so I have one other quick bar graph that I wanted to show you. I did this as another way of just illustrating how basically we're working backwards. We're reverse engineering to figure out where do I get those quality leads by looking at a couple of these that I shared. And so here, let me take you to this. Oops. It sure doesn't want to share. There we go. Slideshow. So here we've got a horizontal bar chart. And what I've done here is simply, wow, StreamYard is really not liking this. Here we go. Okay, let's try this again. It's a Friday afternoon, right? At least here in the United States, it's a Friday afternoon. So here I've got a horizontal bar chart. And I've got a couple of different pieces of information encoded here. So first, I've got the length of the bar chart. And you can see that axis, that horizontal axis at the bottom. That corresponds to how much revenue each of these sources, these lead sources, brought in to this. This actually was a law firm out on the West Coast. How much in 1 year in revenue they got from clients, that the lead source was one of these 5 volunteer nonprofit events over here. So in case you can't see, the top one is an alumni organization. And last year they booked $116,000 in profit from the clients that they had gotten from a couple of different alumni organizations. Right below that is their annual golf classic. They booked $89,000 from clients that they got at that golf classic. Now look at the third one, Habitat for Humanity. That they booked $310,000 from clients they got from volunteering with Habitat for Humanity. So, and the other piece of encoding here, what I did is the length of the horizontal bar is the amount of revenue. And then I've got the profit ratio in a range of from deep red, very unprofitable, deep blue, highly profitable. So again, we've got that revenue and we've also got the profit in there, which you would expect nothing less from me by now. But check out that Habitat for Humanity. Not only did they bring in a lot of revenue, it was highly profitable. So when they ask me, Jules, where do I start? Where do we start this coming year? Where do we put our resources? Where do we give our associates kind of a little push? Like, yeah, you need to make sure that these are on your calendar and make sure you're able to balance your billable hours in the week with whatever here, right? Habitat for Humanity. And then also that one at the bottom is Toys for Tots. That one didn't bring in much revenue, but it was highly profitable versus the others. They brought in more revenue, but they weren't very profitable, right? They were below 0%. So they were negative profitability. So that's what I mean when you're talking about where do I find quality leads? So the first way that I start looking at this with my clients is by actually going out, looking at their clients and starting to put them into groups, starting to, as I put it, put them into buckets. And then figure out the profitability of those, the different buckets, figure out which ones are more and less profitable, and then figure out where they came from. And so again, this is all presupposing that you're able to track where your leads come from. And I think we all know it's just like with productivity systems and all that sort of thing. None of it is rocket science, but it does require consistency, and it does require buy-in and an investment, a little bit of investment of time to be able to do that. But you see what you can do once you know where those quality leads are coming from. Then you can double down or even triple down on looking more and more at those. And that lets you free up your resources, be it associates, be it time, be it actual money, from all those others that so far are not the best quality for your firm. All right, my friends, that's what I have for you today. I want to thank you for joining me today, and thank you if you're catching this on replay. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment below, either here on LinkedIn or over on YouTube. I will be more than happy to answer any questions. I'd love to hear your feedback. Does this make sense? Does something I said not really make much sense? Let me know. Hit the subscribe button if you're over on YouTube so you can hear more of my tips and more of my videos about using data in your business to really propel yourself forward, unlock profitability. And you'll also be notified each time a new video is uploaded. And mark your calendar. I will be here every other Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern through the end of December. And if you are drowning in your data and you have analysis paralysis, you're not quite sure what metrics to be looking at, your head is just swimming, I got you covered. Check out my free ebook to find out what metric you should be focusing on in the next 90 days, depending on what your goal for the next 90 days for this quarter is. You can find a link to it at the top of my website pages, www.jlaanalytics.com. And with that, my friends, I will see you in 2 weeks. And until then, go forth and analyze.